frankly, the use of your time, there would be a better use of your time on this show.
I have done repeatedly. I'm wondering whether you would condemn it.
I don't particularly care, to be
honest.
You don't
care that journalists should be allowed to investigate what may have happened in a war zone?
I care about right pursuing over wrong.
I don't think you do, though, Josh, do you? You just care about your side. You don't care about the truth.
No, I do. Piers, I care about team civilization defeating team barbarism.
Sometimes Piers Morgan gets it wrong, but this time he doesn't. In this clip, he clashes with Josh Hammer over Israel and Gaza. And as the pressure builds, the conversation starts to fall apart in real time. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Let's get into it.
Josh Hammer, specifically about what's happening on the West Bank at the moment, surely you would be able to freely condemn the appalling scenes that we're seeing of these astonishingly aggressive settlers.
What are the appalling scenes, Piers? I genuinely asked that question there. Virtually all of what I've seen are information operations. If you have actual clear footage...
Do you think it's all invented?
Most of what I've seen is manufactured from NGOs and various other anti-Israel organizations there.
So you don't think there are any Israeli settlers...
We saw this throughout... That's not what I said.
Just to be clear, then you don't believe there are any Israeli settlers running around terrorizing Palestinians on the West Bank?
Not what I said. Literally not what I said. You're putting words in my mouth. I'm saying if you can show me concrete proof of innocent Arabs who are being attacked by Jews in Judea and Samaria for no reason whatsoever, other than the fact they are Arabs, I will be the first person in the world to condemn that.
So you don't think there is any evidence of any attempt at new settlements going on the West Bank?
Now you're completely changing the conversation.
Well, tell me whether you do or not.
Now you're asking me a separate conversation. Now you're asking me, is the Israeli government building new Jewish homes in Judea and Samaria? You just totally changed the question.
Are Israeli settlers committing acts of violence against Palestinians on the West Bank to take their land? Yes or no?
I have seen zero concrete evidence of an innocent Arab being attacked by a Jew in Judea and Samaria. There are a lot of skirmishes there.
Have you told Naftali Bennett, the former Israeli Prime Minister, because I had him on the show last Wednesday, I think it was.
If you want to play a clip right now and provide me context there and show
No, I'm simply saying
that there were not rocks thrown or any kind of other
Naftali Bennett, a former Israeli Prime Minister who wants to be Prime Minister again.
Naftali Bennett formed a government with the Muslim Brotherhood. He is the last person in the world to ever
you see no evidence. You don't believe Naftali Bennett. You don't believe Avram Berg. It's kind of convenient. This reminds me a little bit of the attitude towards what happened in Gaza, where the Israeli government under Netanyahu... Well, hang on, let me finish. The Israeli government...
Well, you don't let me finish. What I said is that if you can actually show me a single instance of a Jewish man or woman, I suppose, just attacking an Arab for no reason whatsoever, I will be the first to condemn it. I am telling you that since this happened there was the lie that Israel deliberately bombed the Catholic Church in Gaza. There was the lie that the Church of Tabed... It was a whole information operation. Tony Bedron wrote an entire 3,000-word takedown for Tablet magazine. It didn't happen. There was a fire next to an old church building in Taba there in the heart of the biblical heartland of Judea and Samaria there. The church was not touched. Most of this is completely fabricated. There are false images. Now there's AI. It is spread like wildfire throughout social media.
How convenient.
If there are actual instances, of Arabs being attacked, I will be condemning as I condemn.
I have seen literal videos of it happening, which have been verified.
If it's happening, I condemn it. But I just...
So you don't know it's happening because you don't want to see it happening because you don't want to believe it's happening.
That's not true.
And this reminds me, to finish my point before you interrupted me, my point about Gaza is that international journalists are still banned by the Israeli government from operating freely in Gaza. And we all know why that must be.
Al Jazeera terrorists are banned. People who are in bed with Al Jazeera
all international media are currently still banned from operating freely in Gaza, despite there having been a ceasefire of sorts for many months. Why do you think the Israeli government doesn't want war correspondents from around the world on the ground in Gaza, do you think?
Piers, I don't work for the Israeli government. I'm American.
You're a smart guy.
Frankly, the United States currently controls all situation in Gaza through the border peace. You probably should ask Donald Trump that question.
Which they don't want the world to know.
Okay, all this has been. I know facts are very hard to come by on Piers Morgan Uncensored these days, but unfortunately, facts don't correspond to your particular narrative. John Spencer, who is the head of urban warfare studies at West Point, has crunched all of the relevant numbers and has shown time and time again that the civilian to combatant ratio in Gaza since the war started on October 7, 2023 have been 1 to 1.5.
If it's been the activities of the most moral army in history, as I keep hearing, if the IDF has done nothing wrong, been completely blameless, been like at the top end of morality in what they did in Gaza, fine, okay. Let the journalists in from around the world to
why don't you go? Like literally, why don't you go? If you care that much to cover, why don't you personally fly in there and try to cross the border?
There is a reason the Israeli government has banned the world's media from going into Gaza.
And I think that you should personally challenge that. Frankly, the use of your time, there will be a better use of your time on the show.
I have done repeatedly. I'm wondering whether you would condemn it.
I don't particularly care, to be honest.
You don't care that journalists should be allowed to investigate what may have happened in a war zone?
I care about right pursuing over wrong.
I don't think you do, though, Josh, do you? You just care about your side. You don't care about the truth.
No, I do. Piers, I care about team civilization defeating team barbarism. That is the simple. That is the moral dichotomy of the 21st century. It's been the moral dichotomy of black versus light, of good versus evil for millennia. There, I know that the moral obfuscation on this show on a day-in-day basis tends to rot brains and minds, make people think that is the only thing that motivates me on a day.
Why are you here?
To present the team savvy perspective.
You're now doing the Ben Shapiro playbook. You know, anyone that criticizes the Israeli government must be anti-Semitic, must be rotting brains. This is Jerry Springer. This is a circus. I've got you on to debate this.
I didn't call you anti-Semitic.
But it's coming because it's the Ben Shapiro playbook.
Ben Shapiro has not called you anti-Semitic either. Ben Shapiro has called you dumb and stupid, or some variation thereof. Okay, I mean, like he has called your show Jerry Springer. He has not called you anti-Semitic. He has not done that because he has no reason. I have no reason for thinking that you are.
Good. Well, I'm glad we can cross that bridge. I'm glad that you come on a show that you think rots people's brains because I mean, why would you do that? I don't get it.
It's a fair question, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, why don't you just leave?
I could, but I'm here to engage.
What are you doing here? If you think it rots your brain, why would you risk rotting your brain?
Every so often you have a guest who makes a modicum sense, and I thought this would be a good opportunity.
Someone that agrees with you and doesn't want to criticize the Israeli government. I get it.
What you just watched there wasn't really a debate. It was a masterclass in deflection. From the very start, the question was simple, and yet it never got a straight answer. Instead, what you saw was a pattern. Dodge the question, shift the focus, and avoid the core issue entirely. And the more the pressure built, the more obvious it became. Now look, I'm not someone who usually praises Piers Morgan, but in moments like this, you have to acknowledge it. He stayed on it, he kept pushing, repeating the question, refusing to let it slide. And that persistence, that's what exposed everything. Because once the pressure hit a certain point, the conversation changed. It stopped being about facts and started turning into frustration, interruptions, and personal shots. That's usually the moment when you know the argument isn't holding up anymore. And here's the bigger issue. People aren't just relying on talking points anymore. There's a flood of footage, reports, and first-hand accounts circulating globally. Right or wrong, people are forming opinions based on what they're seeing with their own eyes. So when someone comes in and flat out dismisses all of it without engaging directly, it raises more questions than it answers. That's why exchanges like this matter. Not because one host won or the other lost, but because it shows how difficult it's becoming to control the narrative when the audience is paying close attention. And to be fair, none of this is simple. These are deeply complex emotional issues with real consequences, but that's exactly why direct answers, not deflection, matter more than ever. Let me know what you think about this exchange. Did Piers handle it the right way, or did both sides miss the mark? Thanks for watching.